There we go. I got a couple more. Good, man. Loving this setup. Hey, I appreciate that, Summers. Hey, if you want to, you know what I'm saying? You can hit that thumbs up and share the video out so, everybody can kind of see it. Also, you notice the background. We switch it up a little bit. Got some some camis, a little bit of military equipment in the back. And, your boy's fresh to death. I just had to turn up a little bit. You know how we do. But, I let him win. Stop it. Well, anyways, hey, welcome everybody. I appreciate you guys coming back for another live episode on the Veteran Influencers podcast. And I was playing. But as you can see, I got the green screen in the background, and I got the fresh new background. Last week and the week before, we had the grass background, but today we had to switch it up a little bit. And for those of you that have joined us the last couple weeks, I always have a special guest that's going to be right next to me doing an interview with me and kind of going over their story, but also like what they can give to the veteran influencers community. So this, my guest is going to be retired Staff Sergeant Ray Garcia. And I first met him in IWAKUNI, Japan. And, we worked in the same unit. So he was lucky, Yeah. And, I would say probably for like the first year, I didn't really know him that much because he worked upstairs and I worked downstairs. But slowly but surely, all the help that I needed from the training shop where he was the staff in COIC, I just realized how good of a person he was. He was always like quick to help out and went out of his way, not only for me and the other staff and COs, but I just noticed his work ethic with him working with the other officers and also the just the Marines in general. Very hard worker. Like there's very few people I know that I've seen work as hard between hours, doing extra duties, extra labor, and then, going out of the way to help out with stuff that wasn't even required from his actual MOS. So without further ado, my guest for today on the Veteran Influencers podcast is Ray Garcia.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Chris?
Hey, nothing much, man. I just want to let you know it is a pleasure and a privilege to have you on here. And, when I decided to start my podcast, I was like, man, because we pretty much talk, every other day, sometimes every day. So I was like, man, I got to get him on the podcast. He has so much to offer the veteran influencers community and so many things that they can take from it that's going to actually benefit them, whether they're active duty or whether they actually got out. So what I want to do right now to everybody that's watching in the chat, if you can, do me a huge favor. Can you thumbs up the chat? That's going to help for the actual live feed to spread around a little further. And if you want to, you feel a little froggy, go ahead and, share the page out. Let other people get the privilege of seeing what's going on. Maybe they can benefit from some of this info. Jesus. Off rip. Yo, my boy Summers said, just wanted to show my support with the 10 bomb. Boom, 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 boom. Dun, dun, dun. That's what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'm not screaming too loud in the chat, but man, let me salute that. I totally appreciate you, Summers. Thank you so much. That, honestly, just your support and let alone your donation means the absolute world, not only to me, I know it does all the veteran influencers out there. Gives them hope and support and just knowing that they can make a difference, not only in the veteran community, but, just to others in general. So I salute that. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate it. So for those of you that are just getting on, like I said, if you can, right? I know you always see these YouTubers begging for likes and stuff. Just in case you don't know what it does, I guess you could say the more popular video, thumbs up, comments, all that stuff, it actually helps the video to get pushed in the algorithm. I know people don't like that word. And then if you could share it to your social media, that's going to allow more people to come onto the live, which once again, is going to help push it. And there's probably a lot more people that need to actually hear this information that I know Ray's going to be giving us today. So yeah, that's huge. That's off rip already. Much love, much love. All right. All right, so let's get started. So like I said in the intro that we had, my guest is Ray Garcia, and we met in Japan. which is always a good time, you know. And I definitely feel that I gained a pretty big friendship, and I gained a lot of knowledge from you. But we know where you're at now, obviously, as the entrepreneur. We know a little bit through like the post and us actually promoting today that you were obviously in the Marine Corps. You have a lot of knowledge about transitioning out, and you actually you're one of the rare people that I know that have actually gotten out before, came back into the military, and then obviously you finished your tour of 20 years to be able to retire. But before we even get to that part, can you let the people know just like a little bit about who Ray was growing up and kind of like where you gained your ambition from?
Wow. So I came into the Marine Corps in 1997. Yeah, I just
Hold on.
I just did
I was in
dated
7th
myself.
grade. Yo.
Yeah, I know. I know before I was getting out, I was getting kids. It was like date of birth, 1998, 97. I was like, damn, brother. I was already in. I was shoveling sandbags and so on.
Hooking and jabbing already,
Yeah. No, but I came in out of a small town in Texas called Eagle Pass. It's at the time it was probably about 25,000 people. So
wow.
Yeah, my uncle was a Marine, so that was the only image I had of the Marine Corps, and that was my thing. I wanted to join the Marine Corps. I was like, I didn't want to do nothing else. I didn't feel like the majority of Marines, they just didn't quite feel like going to college. So I said, yeah, I'm going to join the Marine Corps and then figure it out from there. Came in. I got my first MOS, which was a heavy equipment operator.
Right.
And it was awesome. I felt I like the hands-on thing. We're doing a lot of cool stuff, building roads, flight lines, things like that. We once OEF hit, we're doing Ospreys, the landing pads for the Ospreys in Iraq.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a good time. During my tour of those 11 years, numerous B-billets, licensing. I was a recruiter for a while.
Wait, hold on, Ray, before we get too far. And believe me, I definitely do want to get to all that because you have such an amazing story to offer these veteran influencers. But if we can go back just a little bit prior to the Marine Corps. So, you spoke about how your uncle was a Marine. What was do you remember the years that he actually served? And was he in any major wars, I'm assuming?
Yeah, he was Desert Storm.
Okay.
So he was a comm guy, and he complained about carrying a radio all the time. So I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was he lived in New Mexico. We lived in Texas. So I never got to see him till it was holidays. But we used to stay in his room. And just like you have your cameos hanging in the back.
Right.
That was the same thing. He had his uniforms in the closet. And it was cool. It was cool. We'd go in there. We'd put it on. They're like, damn, it felt.
That's where it starts, man. Yeah, it's like, because my dad was the same way. You see the uniform. My dad used to be up, and I'm sure you probably saw your uncle doing the same thing. My dad would be up at ridiculous time in the morning, ironing his camis. So, the entire house smelled like stay flow.
Yeah.
Making sure it was all creased. And he used to actually make me polish his boots. He taught me how to do the whole spit shine and whatever, which kind of actually transferred over to when I did ROTC my freshman year in high school. But it's so crazy thinking back to all that. And I bet you probably remember the same exact thing, putting his cover on and walking around the house as like a little kid.
Yeah, he used to get up. We're there in the holidays, so he'd get up early. He'd go PT, green on green in the snow.
Oh.
We thought this dude was nuts. But it was awesome. It was like, man, look at the level of mentality. This dude is like a warrior. And that's what I wanted to be. I was like, I wanted to be that. I was working as an AC technician during high school.
Right.
I could have picked that as a job. I was doing it good. I was doing good in that, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a Marine.
Right. So your uncle was the main reason why you wanted to be a Marine, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
So obviously parents were like, no, why don't you become a lawyer? I was like, a lawyer with like B average grades? I was like,
Maybe not today.
yeah, not today, not today, Jesus. Yeah. So no, it wasn't it. So yeah, came in the Marine Corps. It was a rude awakening. Uh, Obviously, when you're in boot camp, you're like, man, what did I think? I think it was even worse when I hit MCT that I didn't know what a heavy equipment operator was. I thought it was going to be an AC technician.
Right. That's usually how it goes, right? For those of you that aren't actually in the Marine Corps, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you would like to join? You want to play basketball or football? Oh yeah, we can do that. Just sign right here and everything.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, by the way, everybody. If there's any recruiters out there, listen, it's all love, baby. I'm just messing around.
Yeah. Now they gave me the general field. They're like the construction 1300 field. I was like, all right. But when I get to MCT, the first thing they tell me, I was like, well, what's this? Heavy equipment. He's like, and he sees a dump truck carrying trash. He's like, you're going to be driving stuff like that. I was like, dang, I'm going to be a trash guy for the Marine Corps. I was like, I'm miserable. I was like, what can I do to get out? Now, once I went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I started looking at everything, I was like, wow. I was like, this is cool. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed 11 years as an engineer. And I think I still carry that pride till this day.
So you said you were in, where was your MOS school at?
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
So what was it about? Because you said that, when you were there, it's kind of like when you were like, I knew I was getting into something good. Like, what was it about it? Because I know for us on our two schools that we have, our two MOS schools that we have in the beginning,
Yeah.
they go into the fleet, they've got like actual like airplanes and stuff for like demonstration or for you all to see. And then everywhere there's like different aircrafts or they got the different parts like just kind of like displayed out there. So is that how it was for you? Like you would just see it and you felt like you were just like a part of it? Or
It was obviously we didn't deal with aircrafts there at the time. We're dealing with heavy equipment.
right.
But before I joined the Marine Corps, I guess I've always had that thing of, if I'm going to do something, I want to see the fruits of my labor,
Right.
As an AC tech, we'd make this monstrosity of a unit just to cool down a huge building. You'd see your work. So coming in as an engineer and looking at all this heavy equipment stuff, it was, we started looking at where we're going to be working with surveyors. We're building roads, grading, flight lines, things like that. We're putting grades of slope on things. So
right.
So I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm like, wow, I'm still doing something and it's on another level,
Okay.
It's going to be utilized by somebody. So.
Right. So in the beginning, like you said, you were kind of mesmerized by, and I'm not sure what you actually heard about it prior to, because it seemed like when the recruiter or MCT, when you heard about it, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
But so in the beginning during the MOS school, you were mesmerized by it. You were excited. You started to get like this excitement about wanting to actually be a heavy operator equipment. But so as you go along, because obviously after the school, you go into your actual unit. So can you tell me a little bit something about transitioning from school to going to your unit, and then kind of like early on Marine Corps time, what your actual experience was at that point?
Okay, so from there, I did go to my unit. And I took it to heart. So I learned everything to the T. So I think it's when it started there was they started noticing, I was taking on a lot of the younger Marines coming in. It's like, hey, this is what we got. This is what we do. Teaching them the nomenclature, the equipment. So that kind of transitioned into them saying, yeah, you know what, we're going to put you on licensing. You're kind of in the teaching thing kind of mode. So I started teaching a lot of these young Marines that were coming in, teaching them about the equipment, things like that.
Right. Now, this was as a junior Marine you were teaching already?
This is as a junior Marine, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It was more, and I think it started more because, I talk a lot. So
No.
More I see is kind of like, yeah, you got a little smart mouth. How about you become an instructor? All right, yeah. So that was cool. It happened for a while, and I got I was able to attain so many licenses,
Right.
ton cranes and all that stuff. Now we're working at the flight line. We're pulling rotors off 46s, 53s, things like that. So it was something cool,
Right.
taking these junior Marines and they're looking at it like, wow, look at all this stuff. We're doing something. And it felt great, but it still felt like, okay, what more is there?
Right.
And that's when my new staff NCO Hammond came on, and he's like, yeah, you like to talk, dog. Guess what? You're gonna go on recruiting. So
Hold on real quick before we get to that point, because I hear so many horror stories about recruiting, but I hear some good stuff too, and I can't wait to get to that part. But so you talked about when you were a junior Marine, the MOS side of it, but what about the actual like the things that you can't really like the fear of going to a new unit where you're the new guy, or did you have any issue like um going about like your day-to-day business? Because I remember like when I was a PFC and a Lance Corporal, I was always trying to volunteer for stuff, so that kind of put me in the light. So sometimes it's good when you're doing great, but like those little hiccups that you might have or something like that, it kind of gets like pushed out to everybody. You have the different pressures of I'm not saying to talk about field day or anything like that, but you have to be able to manage your actual home life. And I'm not sure I don't think you were married at this point, right?
no.
Okay. Some people got to manage like being married or, boyfriend, girlfriend, your personal life. And then you have to actually manage the MOS side of it at the same time. So can you talk a little bit about how you felt during those times as well?
Yeah, it was a culture shock, I think, coming in small town, then being stationed in California, new unit. And it's more like, all right, here you are, here you go. Don't get in trouble, be at work by 7:30. Damn. And I got all of Southern California I can hang out. It was it was intense. I think it was hard. It was hard. I think it's and I think this fear, that's this same feeling, I felt it maybe 2-3 times in my life.
Right.
To start. But you don't know what to expect. You meet some Marines, you're like, oh, this person's awesome, or I'm gonna follow this person, and you hit a wall, oh, I don't like the way that dude is, I'm gonna be different,
Right.
things like that. So it was a culture shock, I think, but I got used to it, and then I was able to push through it. So it was a good thing, I guess I learned from it and progressed.
I think we all have those like, and you don't have to talk about your individual moments. I don't want to get too personal. Sometimes you strike a nerve, but I know I definitely had my moments of, I'm glad I had some good leadership around. Like, had I not, it could have kind of like went a little bit left or a little bit right.
Yeah.
So, but I don't ever feel like I really did too much I always try to stay out of the bad light. Like I didn't really do too much extra. Maybe I was like a PFC. I was a little bit extra, but like I started to learn my lesson after that, when I started to feel there was like light at the end of the tunnel, because I was so tired of field day. I was so tired of being like the junior Marine. So as soon as I got any Marine underneath me, I was just like, I was ready to take on that leadership role. So going from, the junior Marine, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
it was corporal back then to be able to go recruiting, right? I think it is still corporal.
You still needed a waiver. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went as a corporal.
Okay. So were you a corporal or were you a sergeant?
No, I was a corporal.
Okay. So Corporal Garcia, ready, hard charging and ready to go recruiting.
Right.
And to bring people into the heavy operator equipment community. No, just kidding. But,
Yeah.
ready to go recruiting and bring some more newly trained Marines in. So how was that? Like, what was that experience like? And like, what made you actually want to go, or did you get like histed?
No, I pretty much got voluntold, number one.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got voluntold by my staff NCO. It was Gunny Hammond. That was his name. And he said, yeah, you like to talk, whatever. I was like, here we go again with the same statement. You should go on recruiting. So I got voluntold. They kind of signed the waiver. I was sergeant major at the time. Didn't agree with it. He's like, he's too young. He's immature. You know, Gunny Hammond's idea was, no, that's what we need. We need that bridge, that gap, that normality, that Marines aren't robots. That mature and you know, on the recruiting side, they need to see that. Finally, they signed it off. I went to school, had a great time in school. It was me and a couple of sergeants, but I was the boot. I was the boot, and but I was excelling in everything. When they talk about phone calls, the interviews, everything like that, I just gave it my all. I guess my colorful attitude and everything, and it was great. They loved it. They're like, yeah, this is good. RS San Antonio came down, Sergeant Major Wetlock at the time, and he's like, yeah, I want you to come to San Antonio, and we're opening up a new station, so I want you to do it.
Ooh, that had to have been a great opportunity. And the fact that they picked you to do that?
Yeah, it was cool. It was awesome. I wanted to go to San Antonio, but I wanted to go like stay in San Antonio, Corpus Christi, or the Valley, somewhere cool.
Right.
Turns out this new station was going to be in my hometown.
So,
yeah. So they already had a recruiter there. He became a great friend, actually. Still talk, Robert Ceballos. And went there, learned from him. He transitioned, he left, and it was crazy. It was an uphill battle. My hardest. Had a great time, came out of there successful. But I think the most that I took from there was the fact that I was helping out and I was helping people that I knew. These Marines that I talked to, they were related. Either they were related or I knew them from a friend or something. And once watching them come back or their family saying, hey, thank you. You know what? You know, we gave him some guidance. At least we know for the next 4 years, he's going to do something good. And we're going to. So.
But so you made sure they got the MOS they wanted though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
I think that was a clear thing. And that was always the discussion between headquarters and me.
Right.
You know, it's not like the memes. It's like, hey, Steph Soren, I scored a 30. Damn, killer, you're practically a genius. You can do anything you want, you know? Yeah. Put these blues on, you know, see how you look. I see you. Yeah, no, it was cutthroat. It was straight to the point. It's like, hey, brother, yeah, this is what you scored. This is what you qualified for.
Right.
And you can take it, not, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, yeah, you can do this, you can do that. Nah, pretty much not, dude. This is what you qualify for.
Right.
The MOS is, and if you want it, yeah, and if not, you know, I can point you to the Army or the Air Force, but I'm not going to drag you into something that you're not going to like.
Right. So. That's awesome, man. And that's so good to hear. And, you know, I know I'm kind of like, I don't mean to poke fun at recruiters, but, you know, I just feel that the community that's watching and those that, you know, are here on Veteran Influencers, I can't blow smoke with them because most of them are probably like, you know, older than me, you know, been in longer than me. So it's like, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh yeah, it's all grand. We definitely know there's always the goods with the bads. So it seems like you were the one that was like actually making sure they knew what they were getting into prior to joining. So I salute that personally because I feel like I didn't even really know what my MOS was, even when I was at school, because I was supposed to go, I got labeled as aviation support. And I was like, you know, what the hell is that? You know, so they're like, oh, you could be this, you could be that, or this. I was like, I mean, Google wasn't really that big. I mean, it was, but I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was trying to do. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll go crash fire rescue, you know, and most ordnance men that ask for crash fire rescue, if you're ordnance, you would probably ask for crash fire rescue.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad you were definitely on the up and up with that, man. I could just tell by the way you are from just talking to you. So I definitely salute you having integrity when it comes to that and not just trying to get numbers. And the fact that you said that you were busy helping other people trying to get their quotas because you were on point, kind sir.
Yeah. I did. I mean, I don't think I've ever been a hater. And I know there's a couple of people like Leo Cardenas, a guy that was out there on recruiting with, like he knew. And I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I was up in the Sergeant Major's office, you know, in my tour a couple of times, but it was what it was. You know what, if I felt strongly about something, I said it.
Right.
I was the one that, hey, dog, this is the Marine Corps. Well, I want to do this. You know, well, you can't. But you know what? My boy's a recruiter for the Army. I'll call you. You know, I'd have to hear the raps of, you know, why are you giving out, you know, a potential applicant? You could sell them. It's like, nah, that's not the point, man.
Right.
I'm here to make contracts. I'm here to help somebody figure it out, you know?
Right. So you go recruiting, you have a successful tour, right? Yep. Nothing heinous. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So you have a successful tour recruiting. So how, like, did you like get out right after recruiting or?
No. So I finished a successful tour, and just like anything, they're like, hey, you finished this successfully, you can go wherever you want.
Right.
So, awesome. I was like, yeah, great. You know, I want to go to California, Hawaii. They're like, got it. You know, Yuma it is. So it was, in all honesty, it's like, yeah. I was like, you know, I want to go somewhere, some sand. They're like, got it, Yuma. It's a lot of, you know. But
so you get to Yuma.
Yep.
And so you still haven't gotten out for the first time yet, right? Not yet. So you go from recruiting in Texas, to Yuma, and then so how long? Like, did you just do like 1 3-year stint in Yuma, and then it's like, I just didn't want to do it anymore, or like, how did that work?
No, pretty much. So from there, I got to Yuma in November.
Okay.
And I was there December, January, and I left Iraq. So I spent there 2 months, left to Iraq, came back about another 7 months, and then left again to Iraq. Did a bunch of stuff, security, you know, the usual, you know, as an engineer, ground support.
Right.
Came back, and I did about another year. By this time, I got married. I was married by this time, and then did about a year there. I wanted to change stations, and I guess this was the turning point in my life where I said, okay, I've done what the Marine Corps asked me. I've been on recruiting.
Right.
Out successfully. I'm back here. I want to change a pace, you know. Send me to Hawaii. Send me somewhere else.
Right.
They wanted to keep me around. No, we need you here. We need you here. So options started coming up. You know, there was things coming up, and Border Patrol was one of them. And before I go on, I'm not knocking Border Patrol. Great career. Tons of friends are in it.
Right.
It's a great opportunity. But I chose that. I was on this side of the Marine Corps, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get out. I did throw a re-enlistment package in, number 1. And number 2, I also, because this was advice they told me, always throw a re-enlistment package even though you're going to get out. So I threw one in and applied for Border Patrol, took the tests, and I got accepted. Everything went smooth, background, all that stuff was good. And I guess it was at one point where they said, we're going to give you a duty station.
Right.
And I didn't want that duty station. And then everything kind of started coming out, you know, the finer details. And I guess I mapped it out. By this time, I had been out of the Marine Corps for a year. And before I got out, and the thing I love to say is, most people think you're in the Marine Corps and you say, well, you know what, I'm going to get out. My cousin's going to hook me up with this, or I'm going to do this.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah, the grass is greener on the other side, you know?
Absolutely.
Me, once I got there, I noticed the grass was just artificial grass.
Right.
It wasn't even real grass, you know? A lot of things started coming up that I didn't know about my transition or what I was getting into. Buying back my time, that I had to be somewhere for a certain amount of years. So I just figured it's like, the amount of money I'm going to have to put in and where I'm going to be at, I was like, might as well just stay in the Marine Corps and retire.
Right.
So
you said you were out for a year and decided to come back in?
For a year, yeah. It was, and actually, Jimmy Banda was out around that time too. And he was coming.
Speaking of which, he actually asked in the chat. I was trying to make some good time to do it. So let me do two things real quick. Let me give a shout out to everybody that's been participating in the chat. John Michaelman, that's my boy Graves, Leopoldo Cardenas, Shakur Summers, Jimmy Banda Sr., Leroy Brown, and that was it. So, hey, thank you guys so much for just being involved with the process and what we're trying to do here on Veteran Influencers for the podcast. And Jimmy actually asked, he said, Ray, what do you miss the most, and what do you regret, if anything?
What I miss the most, I think, is the day-to-day interaction with the Marines. That's the thing where I hate to use the comparison, but it's like a drug, man. You get so used to, being around Marines and doing things with Marines as far as, helping them out or just talking to them. And little things as far as, even the safety briefs, things like that, when you sit around and you're like, man, what are we going to hear this again? Man, this is terrible. It's, you end up missing it. It's this little thing.
Right.
What do I regret, if anything?
Right.
I regret not spending much more time, I guess, with my peer group. There was many.
That's an interesting one. I don't hear many people say that, but I like that. I'm definitely interested to hear this angle that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I'm a big sponge when it comes to people that you meet, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes you meet them at a certain point in their life. It doesn't matter if they're younger, same age or older. I think you take a lot from them. So I think there was so many opportunities that I could have spent more time with my peer group. Sometimes I would distance myself by their work or I'd focus more on other things. But I think there was a lot of times that I should have been with them more, that I could have grown more as a person, not just professionally, just as an individual, getting out, just a lot of advice. I mean, at the time, Lieutenant Colonel Basco, Sergeant Major Captain, Jimmy, friends I had.
Shout out to them, by the way. I got the honor and privilege to work with them. And those three are such a great example of what it means to be a Marine. Like you said, Sergeant Major Captain, did he officially retire?
Today.
Oh, he did.
Today at 10:30.
Hey, so I missed it, but salute to you, Sergeant Major. Like I said, you're like one of the greatest leaders I've ever met, and I've taken so many things from you. I think it's Colonel Basco now, right? He picked up Colonel.
Yes.
Colonel Basco, I salute you. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever had the privilege of working with those two, I don't think I've ever had a greater combination. Like, I don't know how it landed that way, but having a CO and a SAR major that is that great, oh my goodness, that was amazing. And then he also said Jimmy Banda, I believe he's still a gunner sergeant right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I salute all three of them. I have definitely picked up so many different things from them. So I just want to say salute to all you guys, and you've definitely made an impact on my life.
Yeah, it was great. I know a lot of times me and Jimmy spent a lot of time together there, but I think it was more, I picked up a lot from him, learned a lot from him. So yeah, that's the only thing I regret, I think.
Okay. So I want to spend a good time speaking, because I want to, assuming that it actually like exports the file how I want it, I want to spend a good time and kind of break from what we're talking about. And I want to specifically talk about transitioning out. So obviously, if you guys are have been here the entire time, first of all, I'd like to say salute to all you guys that are supporting. But in the beginning, Ray spoke about how he got out for about a year and had some broken time and then got back in. But then he decided to finish his career and do 20 years to retirement. So I didn't want him to speak too much on the first time he got out, because I wanted to do it toward the tail end. So before we get to that, If we can, if you guys don't mind liking the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We do this every week. We'll have a new guest on and them speaking about their experience throughout life, not just Marine Corps and just veterans in general. So we'll have, Army, all type of veterans with something to offer you. I have somebody, I believe, next week to speak about something financial. So be looking for that. So please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So like I was saying before, if you can kind of not only give some advice to those that are thinking about getting out at any year, right? Because obviously you did 11 years. So it's not like you were a junior Marine at that point. But if you can kind of touch on junior Marines that are always, trying to be the cool person, like, oh, I'm getting out. So I want to be the cool person and say I'm getting out. Give them a little bit of advice on like the pros and cons for that and things that they can actually do to set themselves up when they get out. But also for those that are kind of midway, like the 11, 12-year mark, and those that are retiring, different things they can do to actually set themselves up for when they actually do transition out.
Okay. So if this is just your first enlistment, your second enlistment, I tell everyone, obviously if you're on your second enlistment, you're looking at it as a career. I mean,
right.
That's the projection. But if it's your first enlistment, maybe your second, figure out what you're going to do. It's not so much, and I hear it all the time, oh, people stay in the Marine Corps because they can't survive out in the real world. That's not the case. Marine Corps, military in general, has a lot to offer. If you can stomach it, and if you can do the day-to-day, stay in. Don't get out because of the peer pressure, because your friend or this and that, or your cousin has got a great job opportunity for you. What you have in is job security. And if you can do this as a Marine, keep doing it. Just like professional athletes. Some professional athletes are in it for a couple of years and then they get out. Others, look at Phillip Rivers. The dude's got over a decade playing. He ain't that great.
I was actually wondering why you brought him up. I just kidding. I thought you were gonna say like Tom Brady or something like that.
Yeah, Tom Brady, but no, you know what I mean. He's stuck around. If you are gonna get out, have a good career path. And I see this all the time because I deal with it on a weekly basis. And I talk to these young Marines. It's like, what are you doing? Well, I want to go back home. Well, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm not sure. Okay. Well, you think your life, yeah, you have bills, you have all kinds of things that are coming into play. So
right.
You gotta be smart about it. If you're gonna go to school, make sure you register before you EAS.
So how far out? Just kind of, obviously it depends on what month you get out, right? If you get out in January versus getting out in March, I'm sure it's gonna be a little bit different because one, you'll probably start at a different time than the other. But how far out do you suggest people start focusing on the actual transition out?
14 months.
14 months.
14 months. And I know it's a weird number. A year sounds better. I'm like, oh, you can do it within a year. For us, right now, we're filled up all the way till September. We're filling up November. And that's halfway is already coming down towards the year for classes. But within a year of you getting out, 14 months, you should be already putting pen to paper to something solid of what you're going to do. You can't be figuring it out yet. You can't be, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. No. By that year mark, you should have something solid. And that's first termers. If you've been in half your career, I think it's tougher for you. And that's the spot where I was in, because you have to make a huge change in career. You either get out, lose the time you had, or if not, going into an agency where you can buy it back. Or if not, you're just going to lose 10 years of your life.
Right.
Or whatever the case is, if you get early retirement or some of these programs that are out there. But figure it out. Don't just get out without a plan. You have to have a plan, a huge plan. I think the big difference from transitioning the TRS now to what was TRS back then was, here's how to write a resume. Here's where you can find jobs. Here's the number to the VA.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, oh my God, it was a nightmare. Vice, what they have now, Jesus Christ, they're talking to you, there are interviews, there's workshops. You want to build your business, there's stuff like that. There's companies that come to TRS. Yeah, there's so much things. You just want to be a truck driver? Tight. There's a company out there that teach you to be a truck driver. You want to climb a tower? You can climb a tower. Whatever it is, you start your business. You want to be Border Patrol, corrections, doesn't matter. There's a resource out there to help you out. And they do that now at TRS. I hate the fact when I hear a lot of staff NCOs and senior Marines saying, TRS, it's just full of fluff, this and that. And it's just trying to get you out of work for a week. And no, some of you are educated that know what's going on. Others are not.
Right.
Say there's tons. I went to TRS twice because I think I didn't grasp enough during one session that I had to go twice.
Well, so to talk on that. So if you're transitioning out, like you did 4 years, 8 years, I think you rate to go one time, right?
Correct.
If you're retiring, you rate to go twice, right? Is that usually how it works? Okay.
Yes.
So if we can kind of like touch on, so we kind of like went over like the general spectrum, the have a plan, 14 months out, start thinking about what it is that you want to do, or at that point, kind of already have it damn near solidified of what it is that you want to do. So you're not sitting there trying to think about what you want to do when you get, as the time gets closer within the year. So can you speak on kind of like a little bit, not only the steps that people can take if they are deciding to get out, and then also the pro and cons of the actual process of getting out, like hardships and things that went well for you, like your personal experience of getting out?
So the pros and cons and getting out of things is talking to the steps you can take. I would say is talking to the career planner. It's like, hey, I'm 14 months out. I think I'm going to get out. Obviously, if you're not sure, if there's a speck, an ounce of doubt that you're not going to get out, you're like, yeah, I'm going to get out. Maybe, or whatever. Throw a reenlistment package in. Just throw it. It doesn't hurt. Throw a reenlistment package in. You don't have to reenlist. It's just the Marine Corps telling you, it's like, hey, you're qualified to stay in. If you want to stay in, we'll go through the process. But I tell everyone that. I used to tell my junior Marines that just throw a reenlistment package in. Some will do it, some won't. Once you do that, look at what you want to do. Understand that if you're going to school, you're not going to have that full-time pay.
Right.
This Cinderella story of saying, oh, you're going to I'll live off my BAH, while I stay at mom's. It's
all the time.
Yeah, it's not. Because guess what? You've been living independently for a while. You've acquired bills, you got car payments, things like that.
Oh, yeah. And let alone if you're married too.
Yeah. So it catches up. And you think a lot of people are going to have the pride of going back to live with their moms, going to college and going back to work at like In-N-Out or Burger King. And it's like running into friends. It's like, hey, brother, aren't you in the Marine Corps? It's like, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Let me get the large fries with that.
Just so you guys know, I know I'm laughing about it because, so for those of us that have actually like it to me, it's funny because it's like I've seen it happen. It happens all the time. You say, oh yeah, my uncle's got an oil rigging business and he's already got me lined up. Next thing you're getting out of the Marine Corps and would you like to supersize that? Which is not funny, but it's absolutely true. So I'm making a little bit light of this, but these are things that happen and they ultimately do affect your life. I know so many people that have said, I wish I would have stayed in. I wish I would have just continued to go or continue moving on until I at least got a chance to retire from it. And there's a lot of people that are older than me that are telling me this, that are 50, 60 years old. It's like, yeah, I did 8 years and I ended up getting out, but I regret not staying in. And obviously it's too late at that point.
Yeah.
If you could touch on like a little bit like of what went smooth for you and what was like a little bit more difficult of finding out, or maybe things that like kind of surprised you that you didn't know about that you had to actually figure out on the spot about getting out?
What was smooth for me, I think, transitioning, doing the VA. Here in Arizona, the programs were pretty good. So I took all the advice that everyone said. Hey, make a copy of your medical record. Hey, jot down any issue you have. Hey, if you want to follow up with stuff, let them know. And it was easy. They planned it out. Everything was good. That was good. Transitioning programs that help you transition. You want to open your own business, setting up classes. The easiest, I think, was the CSP program. I got to a point when I was at that year mark that I still wanted to be either a cop, a sheriff, border patrol. And I started doing since I was getting out, and I was taking a lot of duties on the weekend. So figured, yeah, whatever. But then the night shift came on, and I was like, man, this is what being a cop is? Oh, no. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. That ain't it. So that's when I changed my career. And I decided to do this. I was like, you know what? I'm good with electrical stuff. So I want to be a technician for cell towers. And I met Eric Aliste at the time. He was the one that ran the program for Airstreams.
Right.
And he's got this little swagger talk. He's from South America. It's like, yeah, Devil Dog, we'll help you out. It's going to be great, this and that. He was real good. He's a good guy. And it sounded great. So the CSP programs, the way the Marine Corps takes care of them is awesome.
Right.
Tell you about the program, how they can get you, how they can assist you with getting you a job. And they pretty much put it on a timeline. So that was one of the easy things. Transitioning, the hardest, I would say, fear of the unknown. There was a lot of empty.
A lot of people can relate to that. Like the fear of the unknown. Even myself, when I was thinking about getting out, it's like people tell you things, but it's like they're not going to tell you every little thing, and it's just like, oh, I did not know. And then when you actually like experience it, it's like a whole different story. So
exactly, and that's the inevitable. I think that's just something that you're gonna have to go through. But I think if you're prepared for hardships, if you know financially you're gonna take a hit, or you have to move, things like that. It's where it should be a softer blow. The impact would be easier, yeah. So I guess if I were to say the hard thing it was that,
Okay. So now, you had your you transitioned out, and you definitely spoke a lot of things that I'm sure is going to resonate to a lot of people that have already gotten out and those that are thinking about getting out. Because I knew that just by you telling me all those things, like I definitely felt like your frustration and pain, and I haven't even transitioned out. So I know those that have probably can relate to that a lot. And then those that are going to, I'm sure that when they get to a point to where they're transitioning, hopefully they remember back to this video or refer back to this video so they can see the type of things that they're going through. So we spoke about your time in, then we spoke about your transition out after retiring. You spoke a little bit about the VA, but so right now you work for a company, you said it's called Airstreams.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. So transitioning out, being that I spent the amount of time as an ops chief and helping out Marines and progressing their career, or either progress getting out. I was getting out, and I guess I was saying goodbye to that life of assistance.
Right.
Be part of something. So I came to Airstreams to be a technician. So long story short, before I went to school, graduated, I was like, okay, I'm going to stay around Arizona. And I was also trying to get into a race series in Baja. And I got injured my first race. I got injured. I had a TBI. Oh, yeah. I was in the hospital for a while. And that kind of affected me from climbing. So I couldn't climb a tower. And from there, it was, I guess, Eric and at the time, Adrian and Grant, which is vice president of the company, the section I work with, said, hey, we have this opportunity. You want to stay in Arizona? you can work as a admissions rep for us. I was like, cool. What is that?
Yeah, please explain.
Please explain, you know. I'm one of those 30, 40 ASVAB guys. So
Yeah.
he pretty much said you'll be a recruiter at the company. I was like, wow. The one thing that I only spent like 3 years in the Marine Corps.
Right.
Yeah, so Airstreams is a renewable energy company. We teach active duty and veterans, service members, how to get certified as tower technicians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have about 11 campuses all over. If I'm correct, 11 campuses. Don't quote me. You know, on it, give or take one. But all over the U.S. all over the U.S. It's either a 6 or 7 week program. You can attend this course while you're still in. So if you're active duty, and that's what I mean, within a year, you can do a lot of this stuff and still be active duty. You can attend our school. You can go be a truck driver, heavy equipment operator, Microsoft. There's so many programs out there. You can be a welder, you know, a pipeliner, and you can do all this. Your unit can sign you off so you can go to the school. So you can go to school, get certified, and then you come back and you EAS, and then you can start working that week that you get out.
Nice.
Yeah, so our school offers this, and while our students are in the school, we have transitioning service members that work there. So I'm sorry, we have service members that work there that assist with the transitioning part. So we'll help you find a job. So some of these Marines from here are like, hey, I'm getting out. I want to be a technician, but I want to go back to Texas. So we'll help them find a job in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Yeah, we partner with over like 400 or 500 companies right now.
Okay.
And our focus is, like I tell everyone, it's like, hey, we're not here to make you millions, but we're here to help you at least get something before you get out of the Marine Corps, so you can have a job. If you do it as a temporary thing, awesome. If you do it as a career, that's great. But at least you're gonna have a career, you know.
Absolutely.
And that was a fulfilling thing because, you know, numerous times I still get calls from students. Hey, I just got one this week. Hey, this is so and so. I think we were talking about it. Say, I just finished a couple of months and I'm working, and I just want to say thank you. This is great. I got a job. I was scared. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I know it felt good. It felt all warm inside and stuff, you know.
Right.
It was a cool feeling. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
teary eyed, you know.
I got a juju bee in my eye. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's always those. I got a Marine that I helped in the Marine Corps. Met him as a PFC, yelled at him so many times, but he learned the MOS so well that right now he's doing great, you know, and it's like, dang, it's, you know, it hits. It feels good. It feels good. So coming to this, it's like I didn't leave. It's like I'm still out there assisting service members.
Right.
I'll tell them straight up. They tell me what they want to do, what their careers, this and that. And if it, honest to God, doesn't sound like they can make it happen, I'll tell them now, bro, you need a realist, or maybe you should do this, or look at this career path. I'll even refer them. It's like Border Patrol, or be a truck driver, or do this or do that, because this is what I'm going to do on this end, you know, and that's that honesty, man.
That's awesome. Like I said, from, you know, it's kind of cool because, you know, obviously from you having the experience with your recruiter to being a recruiter, is probably like seeing that the other side of it was probably, you know, pretty awesome. And then not only that, but from you being a recruiter to you kind of being a recruiter again for Airstreams, you get to see both sides of those different things as well. And like the different aspects of it, because now, like you said, now you have Marines that are getting out that are speaking to you. Typically a recruiter speaks to somebody that's trying to come in. So I think that kind of aspect is like the dynamic of that is pretty awesome to me. And the fact that, you know, you could personally relate to them because you already served, you know, your 20 years, you know, in the military. So I just want to let you know, man, like, first of all, thank you so much for making it out here. It's honestly an honor and a privilege to have you on the show. And judging by the people that have joined in here to support, you have a large support group. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody that came in and joined the chat. Thank you so much. I want to make sure that you leave them with your last parting remarks, and then also where they can find you at.
So you can find me, and I'm gonna post I'm opening up a Facebook page to help. I guess if there's questions, things like that, I'm gonna put my phone number on there. I'm gonna comment on there, so I'm gonna put my phone number. You go to airtechstreams.com. You'll find my information there. You can reach me through Facebook. I'll be whatever it is that you need help. You're trying to find a job. We work with tons of these companies. Hiring our heroes, recruit military. It doesn't matter where. Our main focus is to get you a job. So I'll leave as much info as I can, my email, things like that. So reach out to me, whatever question you might have. I'm always here in Yuma, but it's pretty much I do everything west of Mississippi. So thanks. I really appreciate it, everyone that commented, and hopefully I'll be in touch with a lot of you soon if I can help you out.
Hey, so one last thing for me is if every Wednesday we do Christian Clemente, best leader I have ever had. Shout out to Christian Clemente. Hey, that's to you,
wow.
Man. Damn, man. Hey, they're laying it on thick today. That's crazy, man. That's awesome. Man. Look, like I said, your support group says a lot about you, about who you are, without even doing this interview. So what I want to say is, if there's anybody out there in the chat, if you want to be a guest on the show and you think you have something that you can offer to the veteran influencers community, like Ray's biggest thing was transitioning out, obviously a story as well, because I wanted to get that out the way. So not out the way, but I wanted to go over that so you guys can see who he is for those that don't know him. Because I plan on having him on the show, again, speaking about specific things, but I wanted him to tell a story first. So if you want to be on the show, please email me at veteraninfluencers@gmail.com. If you want to be a sponsor for the show, because we have sponsors coming up in the near future, if you want to be a sponsor for the show, veteraninfluencers@gmail.com. Let me know. Or if you can offer any type of, tech support, if you're good with, designing or graphic design or something to where you believe that you can help the podcast out, or if you have any ideas, veteraninfluencers@gmail.com. All my social media will be in the details. We'll also link Ray's, all of his social media on there. It's not in there right now, but we'll link all of his stuff in there for you to contact him, email, and his I'm not sure, whatever the website is for Airstreams as well. And like I said, every Wednesday, if you guys can, don't forget to like the video, share it out, maybe to somebody that you think is going to help to help transition out, or that you think is going to get something out of it. I want to continue to increase the veteran influencers community, bring all these veterans in. I know a lot of them. I know a lot of veterans that just want to talk to other veterans just to, because they've been away from it for so long, and, they love the camaraderie that we built. And let's see what it said. I like your new podcast. Hey, Chaos, I really appreciate the love. Thank you so much. And I think we have one. Yep. So Chaos, thank you so much. I really appreciate the love. And thank you for the donation for today. The majority of the donations are going to be going toward increasing the overall quality of the podcast. Like I said, we'll be getting sponsors in the near future as well. And please make sure we support Ray Garcia in his endeavors, even if it's just to send him a nice message, encourage him, let him know that what he did and what he does on a daily basis is constantly influencing the veteran community. So, like I said, Ray, I truly appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, Ray, and thank you guys so much for the support in the chat. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, and share it out as well.
Hey.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we're out. Peace.